Hello and welcome to the Beauty Industry Podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry. I am your host, founding director of Beauty Industry, Tamara Shaw. Here we are closing the competitive gap and speaking your language. This is a platform created and dedicated to the professional beauty industry, valuing community over competition. We serve to help connect you with inspiration from industry experts, expand your knowledge through educational pieces, and bring you the latest in product and technology innovation. This is Beauty Industry. In the world of innovation, today's landscape of our industry looks quite different to what it did 5 or 10 years ago. Some good and some not so great things have come and gone in the industry. However, today I am so excited to bring to your ears a new concept for skin treatments, which will change the way we look at treatments and traditional salons. Today, my guests Lisa and Jess from Fresh Face Spa, an express facial bar and LED light lounge in Richmond, Melbourne, will shed light on the conception of the venue, their pragmatic approach to development, and the need for express treatments in the busy lives that we live today, while still providing serious skincare results every step of the way. During this episode, Lisa and I also deep dive the importance of having a receptionist on your front desk, the difficulty in doing so, and provide some tips that will help you maximize every walk-in client that enters into your space. Here's Lisa, Jess, and I. Welcome to the podcast, ladies.
Hi, thanks for having us, Tam.
Our absolute pleasure. I wanted to chat with you both when I first saw your little business. I shouldn't say little, I keep calling businesses little, and I'm getting out of that habit this year. But your amazing business, because it's such a different concept. Can you ask what is an express face bar?
Okay, so an express face bar, we wanted to create kind of a wellness space where you could come and visit to receive result-driven facials in a limited amount of time.
Amazing. And so how does this differ from like a regular salon spa clinic that we are used to?
Well, when I came to Jess with this idea, because initially we ran lash and brow businesses, so we were quite niche in what we did there. And as I mentioned to Jess, the amount of women coming through who had skin concerns, yet they weren't doing anything about it besides buying expensive makeup, thinking that that would do the trick. And I found it was a lot to do with they didn't have the education as to why their skin was that way. Or it could be something as simple as they're stressed, they're not, eating right, and then, or they just think it's them not using the right skin products. And there was all this misconception. I thought, okay, why is it that people still say that they're trying to look after their skin, but they're not getting results? And I honestly think it goes back to education. So I decided to create a space where it wasn't just to educate people. So we didn't want to just be like a skin clinic, because that can be really, I don't know, almost like clinical. And that's what we want to steer away from. Yeah. And, just where we are going with society right now, like everyone is busy. Even if you didn't have a job, you can still say, I'm busy. And we wanted a space where people can step in and just instantly feel relaxed. And when they walk out, they can feel recharged. Because with our other salons, when we do lashes and brows, because as you know, with the lash treatments, that could be up to an hour. When they lie down, by the time they get up, not only do they look great, they feel differently. And they say it's a lot to do with the therapists that work with them, but the space that we've created. So I thought, why don't we replicate that, but do that for skin? So this reaches out a bigger market, because obviously you do have your teenagers who might have skin concerns. Obviously people who are busy and who just, I won't say the word neglect, but they say that they're just time poor. And then you also have your men who, do forget that they do need to look after their skin. So we've created a space where all people can feel comfortable. And I don't know if you've seen our salon, but we've decked it out in such a way so that there's an instant calm as soon as you walk in, with a lot of live plants so that you feel fresh.
And lots of colours and bright. And our treatment rooms are, they're a bit different, I guess, to a regular salon clinic. They've got cool like artwork up, and yeah, they're just a little bit more quirky in comparison to your like regular salon or clinic.
Yeah, so we wanted to steer away from things like white,
fluffy robes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there's so much of that already on the market that, you know, it is a heavily saturated industry that we're in, but by having a really unique concept and then having the interiors, and unfortunately I couldn't make it to your launch night, but I have looked at all of your images on Instagram, and you can see that it is really funky and trendy and super Instagrammable and very, very cool. So you've definitely found your niche there. I want to ask you, coming from lashes, how did face bar become a concept that you wanted to actually make from an idea into something that was real and existing?
Okay. Well, with our initial salon, we had the space and we actually did trial it because one of the girls that I had working with me, she was a qualified beauty therapist. And so instantly we could advertise to our existing clientele. And surprisingly, we did get bookings. Like, when I say surprisingly, it's because, you know, we were so dedicated to lashes and brows, and when we put the poster up, when people were booking in, I saw that there was a need for people still wanting to go into a space where they could be educated on skin and to also feel a little bit pampered. And when we did that, it was, I'll say it's a dingy room because it was just one of the spare rooms that we had. And, you know, it was there organically because I had a beauty therapist on hand, and I noticed people were asking about skin. However, I knew it wasn't viable long term because we couldn't just have one room dedicated to do just skin. So given that we're in Richmond, which is inner city Melbourne, I looked around and we found this space on Bridge Road. So we're literally, I think it's just 2 doors away from Esprit. I don't know if you remember Esprit.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, that's how I explain it to people. And they're like, oh, yes, we used to go shopping there. So, you know, we're literally in the city of Melbourne, you know, just a doorstep away from the city, where people of all sorts can just step in and feel like you're not in inner city anymore. So it's almost like getting the day spa experience, but in modern day time.
That's it. And I guess it goes kind of hand in hand with lashes and brows in a way too, because getting your lashes done and your brows done, that's all got to do with your face. It's about giving you the confidence to kind of go out and feel good about yourself. And great skin is also that. We want to be able to make people confident in their skin and walk out feeling fresh-faced and, yeah, ready to take on the world.
Amazing. And people are so busy these days. You know, we're running around, and even I was at the hairdresser the other day thinking, I'm sitting here for an hour while my hair's getting done, or, you know, 2 hours sometimes. I would just love to be doing my shellac on my hands and my toes and getting an LED and a little hand massage all at the same time. You know, it's, you know, you just want to cram as much in as you can. And I'd love for you guys to talk to me about the types of services you offer there, because obviously it's not your traditional salon or clinic. So I'm assuming they're a little bit different.
Yes, that's correct. So what we do is we offer express 30-minute facials. Those facials include classic facials. So that includes like the double cleanse, exfoliation, mask, steam if you need it, serum and moisturize. And then we've got peels that we offer too. These peels are non-invasive and they've got 0 downtime. And then we do the microdermabrasion as well.
Fantastic.
Yes, and then with the LED light therapy. So all those services we do upstairs in our treatment room, and then downstairs is our retail area, and that's where our modern LED light lounge is. So that's probably what you might have seen on Instagram and Facebook. But basically downstairs we've got 2 LED light therapy machines. We use Dermalux, which is an award-winning machine. And yeah, with that, we offer bundle deals and we offer memberships. So it kind of makes it quite cost effective for people to come in. If they're wanting to come in and treat their skin 2 to 3 times a week, they can just go under the lights, pop in whenever for 20 minutes and then they're done.
Yeah. So just to add to that, Tammy, it's like I notice, you know, the one thing people would often say why they don't, you know, put time towards their face, like go into a whether it be a clinic or a beauty salon, is the cost and time.
Yes.
Right? So with time, everyone knows if something's important, you will make time. No different to people who choose to go to the gym or not. And as for the cost, Look, it's one of those things because people are very quick to sort of buy the quick fixes. So whether it be makeup or, you know, gravitating towards things like the Botox or the fillers because they want that, you know, quick fix basically. And what we're saying to them is, well, we're trying to re-educate them really to say it doesn't have to always be a quick fix because your skin is with you for life. So if you're educated from the start, so, you know, using a quality cleanser and doing it correctly, because a lot of people forget to cleanse their skin twice, which is what they need to do. And then telling them that it's not a waste of time, because that's another thing a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't have the time, you know, an hour to do a facial. Because I'm like, what you forget in this busy day and age is sometimes you just need to switch off and just have time for you, because that is a form of self-care, so that when you do walk out of here, you're actually going to be more productive because you're ready to take on the world. Whereas, you know, there are days you just get stuck in a rut and, you know, how you feel is how you perform. So we're actually saying to people, this is actually good for you. Not just good for you, but it's great for your skin.
And I love your the concept of the light lounge. And as you're saying, you know, if something's important to you enough, you will do it. However, I guess in my experience, sometimes I've gone into a clinic and I wanted an LED, but they've only got one machine. So then if that machine's already in use, that makes it really difficult for me to get an appointment. I need to wait, you know, an hour or 2 hours sometimes to come back and have an LED. So your light lounge having multiple different stations, I guess I'll call it, is the perfect kind of opportunity to be available and accessible for clients.
Yeah, fantastic. Obviously, we invested in 2 to begin with because we've just opened up our doors only several months ago. And of course, the plan is as we get busier, especially if people sign up to memberships, we would have to bring on more of the machines.
And we've got plenty of room to do that. So it's an exciting concept. And it's definitely, even like, I guess we're on a busy street on Bridge Road too. So people do tend to look in when they see the lights on. Yeah, looks like a little bit of a disco happening. All the blue, the red, all that things. So, yeah.
And I want to talk to you about time, because time has really been embedded into the clients as that's what they're paying for. You know, I'm paying for either a 60-minute treatment or a 90-minute treatment or whatever, and I'm looking at the clock. You know, when did my treatment start and when does it finish? However, in my opinion, I feel like time can be non-essential if the therapist is providing the exact same amount of relaxation and energy for the client, right? So how are the clients navigating and kind of responding to seeing an express menu rather than the super long treatments?
Okay. Well, you know, it's really funny because sometimes when we tell people it's express, and you're right, you know, they'll go, oh, well, how long is that? And we often say it's half an hour. And then if we tell them, because our treatments start at 69, and if they do the maths, they actually think that that's still quite pricey because they might be able to get a 1 hour facial at say 99 somewhere else. But what we try to explain to them is, look, given that we've just opened our doors, we include the LED Dermalux treatment as part of that. So that's really great value because generally we would charge say $69 to go underneath the LED lights. But we're doing that to gain their trust as well, because obviously we need the time to sort of educate them and to give them the opportunity to try the LED light so they can see what a difference it makes to the skin. And you've experienced it, so you would know instantaneously, whether it be that day, the next day, you have that glow to your skin, which you often do get when you do get a facial. But what we're trying to educate them is if you do have any skin concerns, if you do go on a package, we can treat the skin concern. And if there isn't a skin concern, it's the feeling we're able to give every client. And we've been fortunate that from the day we've opened, we've noticed a lot of clients, when they walk out, they feel different. So it's not just the treatment itself, it's what this space can do for them. So one of our girls joked that, you know, she could even start doing Reiki because she feels like that's essentially what she's doing, just changing the energy of a person from the moment they walk in to the moment they walk out.
And that sounds like something really special and quite unique, because sometimes you walk into businesses and you think, oh, there's a bad vibe here. What is that? And, you know, I think if you are able to, from the moment you walk in, have that really special feeling, well, that is something, you know, I take my hat off to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cool. Clients just want to kind of hang out afterwards as well. I think because we've got the products downstairs and that sort of thing, everyone seems to be very receptive to the space, and yeah, so that it's great positive vibes in there. And a lot of them have actually said it's a bit like their meditation when they come in to use the LED light therapy, because you're sitting under a machine for 20 minutes. So it is, you're forced to kind of sit down and close your eyes and relax. So a lot of the time they do feel re-energized once they leave, and they're like, that was great. Like, I really just needed that time out. Whether it was like escaping the husband or children, or starting the day off because you've got a busy day ahead. Everyone just appreciates, I guess, having that time out. So yeah, it's great that we can offer that to them.
And when you were looking at the menu and deciding on product ranges that you wanted to stock, was this something that you had to be quite mindful of, because so many businesses and companies, their treatment menus are based off, 60 minutes or longer?
Yes, we obviously, when we talked to a lot of the reps for the various products that we're going to stock, it had to suit us as well. So we didn't want to be too invasive. So it was obviously products that had to be active enough so that people could see results. So we narrowed it down, and obviously at first it was a little bit of trial and error as well, because obviously we did go through several companies. And given that we're only in month 6 of the business, I'm still saying to the girls, we're still open to potentially taking on new brands or getting rid of some lines for what works, because it's still early days. But what we did find was the ranges we had to use, it had to be effective. So the therapists that I've got on board, obviously we've got 4 girls doing the treatments, and each of them have their favorites as well. So we haven't pinpointed just one brand that we're using. We actually use several, and we really do try to customize, because we want to do what's best for the client's skin.
Yeah, and I love how you said that, because sometimes brands want to work, with myself, for example, or I know they want to be in other businesses, but then they look at another brand that you may promote or stock and think, oh, they don't really align. But in my opinion, when you look at a consumer's bathroom cupboard, it's never 20 products of the one brand. There's so many different products, and we're just choosing the best that we like. And my philosophy is that if it works for you and you see a result, well, then that is the perfect brand for you. So I really, enjoy how you're saying, yes, it is about the time, but it's also about the results that we're getting from that treatment, and not one product is perfect for every single client.
That's right. Yeah. And so I guess I won't say I came into this blindly, but I don't have a beauty therapy background at all. So fortunately, obviously the girls I've recruited, I've recruited on a number of things, not only their expertise in beauty therapy, but they needed to have that energy that they can bring into work with them. And I think that's what we forget. Well, I'm not technically a beauty therapist, but because I've worked in the beauty space, it's the people, because obviously we're touching people. We're in such close proximity to them that our energy transcends to them as well. So that's been a really big part of who we are. So Fresh Face Spa isn't always about just giving people fresh skin. We want to re-energize people. So I also say that our space is a wellness space. And it's a lot to do with the girls that work here, because as soon as you walk in, they have the ability to sort of just calm people down. So, if you got to meet the girls, you would know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm wondering, due to the nature of the business, are you getting a lot of walk-ins as your majority of the client, or are clients still pre-booking their treatments? I know you talked about a membership before.
Yes, so pre-bookings are still quite popular. A lot of the time a lot of our clients have kind of found us through social media, Instagram, Google, that kind of thing. And I guess the convenience of being able to book online to guarantee a spot has helped. So we still are getting a lot of pre-bookings. However, we still do get a lot of walk-ins. So basically, because we are on Bridge Road, where there's a tram that kind of stops right out the front of the salon. So a lot of the time people will get off the tram and be like, oh, I just saw you. I just jumped off the tram. I just saw you. You look really cool. We're going to come in. So we get that. And then I guess people shopping and having the hospital just up the road too, we do get a lot of clientele, because I guess people that are visiting and they need some time to kill, they'll pop in, have a facial, that sort of thing. So it's mixed.
It's mixed, yeah. But I'd have to say, because obviously finding a booking system that works for us is a big part of not just this business, but the other businesses I have. Because in the past, traditionally people will call up And that's why we invested into booking systems that were going to be quite seamless, because obviously, you know, if people are looking on Instagram, you want them to be able to have just like 2 links and be able to book themselves in.
Yes.
So what we're finding with the Dermalux, and as you mentioned, we want to run efficiently so that people can just come in, know that they get the treatment at the time they've booked in and be on their way. So pre-bookings, generally, I'd still say that's a big caution, because people
like to be on time and organised, especially when they're busy as well. So I guess they just want to know that they've got that space and then they can leave. But yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying to the girls with the walk-ins, obviously, if they become regulars, they will know how we operate, because obviously once you check out, we'll always talk about how you can book in future. And especially for clients who do take on a package, they'll know that it's so much easier to do it online as opposed to having to call us up.
Yeah. And a lot of the time that the clients that are on the packages, they'll book their Dermalux in at their appointment. Sometimes they'll come in 2-3 times a week. So when we're checking them out, they'll be like, oh, what times do you have in 2 days? So we can just kind of book them in there, then and there.
Yeah. And again, it's about just, you know, you've done the perfect business in my eyes, because it's about catering to the client and making the client be able to book a service easily, have the treatment easily with little downtime and in no actual time, you know. So it's to book a service, and I wrote this in a recent blog post that is on the website, but to book a service and not have an online booking system, in my eyes, you are damaging your own business, because as a consumer who books treatments regularly, I often book treatments when my husband's lying next to me in bed snoring and it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to look crap tomorrow when I wake up because I know I'm not going to sleep all night. I want to have a treatment the next day or the day after. So I'm on my phone from 11 till, you know, anytime between 2 a.m. sometimes. And that's when I'm making the appointment. And if you only have a phone booking system where a receptionist has to be there and pick up the call to make the booking, then it's just not going to work.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm just laughing because I do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm up at like 2 a.m. in the morning too.
Just like, oh, what can I buy or what can I book in for?
Yeah.
Recently I was in the US in LA, and I noticed that so many businesses, it was all online. Like, you know, you could just even book, because obviously the blow bars are really big right now. And their app is just so user friendly that, you know, it only takes a few clicks and you can have it all booked in. And it's amazing. Like, it's so streamlined. And because we recently trialed a booking system called Honey. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, haven't.
All right. Well, Honey was quite new. They actually approached us probably, I'd say, over a year ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And how they explained themselves was, we're going to be the Uber of beauty salons, meaning we're going to streamline you guys so much so that people can potentially prepay so that it cuts out the time. Because, you know, being a busy brow bar for our other salon, it kills your time. By the time you need to process payments, if you're waiting for 2-3 people in front of you to pay, you know, you're wasting several minutes. And so they saw the need for people to understand that if you're going to get the service done, whilst you're waiting, you could actually pay when you're in the chair, especially if all the payment details are saved. And it was a brilliant concept, especially because you'd have the iPad. So when people enter, instead of, you know, getting the details in Word, typing it in over the computer, they can fill it in themselves on the iPad. The concept was fantastic. And I believe the concept's still there. However, Honey found that because they were still trialling their program, they found that they were better in marketing, because that was part of the reason why we switched to their booking platform as well. Their marketing was sensational. They had the NPS, which was the Net Promoter Score. So as soon as the client walked out, they would get a generated text message to rate us between 0 and 10. And that was another way to gauge how happy our clients were, because anyone who rated us below an 8, we would get in touch with those clients. So that was part of Honey's booking system. And so their marketing part worked so well that they've actually branched off to focus their efforts on that. So we've actually had to change booking systems again. But that's just really interesting, because we know that booking online is the way of the future.
Yeah,
so
you're not on there.
Yeah, so it's definitely a big part of Fresh Face Spa, because we're all about express and making it easy for our clients.
And something I'm sure every business owner is listening to this episode thinking is how do you manage your staff's appointment column? So, you probably put it down to maybe a 40-60 split of like walk-ins, pre-bookings, maybe even less than that. But if you've got these kind of light lounges, how do you organize, is it still a client per therapist, or is it just whoever services whoever?
Yeah, so the girls still do have columns per therapist, but we always have someone downstairs in the retail section, which is also the LED light lounge. So they necessarily won't have a column on the day if they're just there to, service walk-ins, because we do get a lot of people coming in to look at our products as well, because we do sell quite a lot of retail. And they're always there to put people underneath the lights if one of the girls or one of the other therapists are in an appointment upstairs for facials. So, still having the columns available, but always having someone downstairs to service walk-ins.
And that's such a key thing that you've touched base on there, because so often I will go into a salon or a spa or what have you, and there'll be a note on the door saying, sorry, gone for lunch, be back in 15 minutes or be back in half an hour.
Yeah.
And as a consumer, if I'm going in because I'm seeing a product on the shelf and I want instant gratification of purchasing that product, that is really frustrating, because once again, like the booking online system, I'm not just going to wait around for somebody to get back from lunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want that service. I mean, I guess it's probably the world nowadays more so, because everyone wants that instant gratification. If you want a date, you go on Tinder. If you want a meal, you go on Menulog. So we expect everything to be here right now. But I love what you're saying there. Sometimes business owners say to me, oh, Tamara, it's so much money paying a receptionist or paying somebody to stand at the front desk. But what if you didn't pay them to stand at the front desk and you're losing clients?
That's right. Yeah. So I feel every business owner, Tamara, because obviously we've just started the business. So, it's early days, and, from a financial point of view, it's not profitable at this stage. But I realise the importance. And I said that to the girls because we actually have an indoor spa around the corner, and I don't know if they're going to listen to this, but, the girls got me a voucher for Christmas. So obviously I booked in to get a massage there, and it was the same thing. I got there, probably 7-8 minutes before my appointment time, and a note was by the door, and I just had to stand outside. And it's not a nice feeling, especially, when you want to pamper yourself and you just want to relax, and that was like, I booked on a cold night, I remember, because I was like, thank God it's not raining, but I'm just standing out here waiting for someone to open up the doors. And I said, that's exactly what we don't want to be.
That's it. And also, if you're looking for a specific product, or you're just spontaneously wanting to buy something and you've got like 20 minutes to kill until your next appointment or until you have to be at work, I'm just going to quickly duck in there, buy this product or book an appointment. If someone's not there, then the chances of you doing it later are slim, because you'll probably walk past some other salon or shop and be like, oh, this is closer to me right now, I'm just going to get something from here. So
yes. So quick educational tips for any business owners that are listening. If you are, obviously you're spending money with a therapist, being on reception, which we know is not profitable. You cannot have somebody stand around that you're paying for to not do treatments. We know that. But when your client comes into the space, your therapist needs to move from behind the desk. And I'm just saying this as I'm thinking about it. This is not scripted, but this is just from a consumer point of view, my pain points. So get your therapist to come out from behind the desk, because when they stay behind the desk and they say, can I help you? I go as a consumer, no thanks, just browsing. And as you said, Jess, I've got 20 or 30 minutes spare because I'm probably waiting to go in somewhere else for another appointment. But if you change that language and you came around from the desk and you said to me, if I was looking at moisturizers, what's your skin type, or what kind of moisturizer do you generally use? Do you like something that's light in texture? Do you like something that's a little bit more nourishing? Then you're starting a conversation with me, because I don't want help, but now you've made me think about, maybe actually I do need help. Am I using the wrong product for me? And then when you do get that one unit, add on. So let me just show you, Mary client, that actually the perfect moisturizer addition to this product is ABC exfoliant. They work hand in hand because XYZ, So you're starting to create
a routine for the client based on the skin that you're looking at. And as therapists, we should be able to recognize the skin just from looking at it. Yes, of course, some therapists are going to say, I need to touch it, I need to feel it, I need to see the elasticity, the reactivity, etc. But 9 times out of 10, you can look at someone's skin and diagnose it. And I know we all sit there on the train and the bus and we look around at clients and think, I'd love to help you, you know, so we can do it. And most of our receptionists are, in fact, beauty therapist or training to be beauty therapist. So it's not about, Tamara, it's not profitable to have a therapist that's a receptionist and I'm losing money, but you have to think about the solution to that and maximizing every opportunity. And I just had to say that in there because I know this is a conversation I have a lot with business owners.
Absolutely. And the thing is, they could be loyal clients at the end of the day. You
Yes.
really help somebody out. And they're like, that person took the time to help me find that moisturizer. I think I might come back for a facial. A lot of the time that does happen. Oh, what else? Because you've helped them, a lot of the time they want to help you back, or because they appreciate, I guess, that customer service, and they, I guess, trust you in a way as well because you've really helped them out.
And just on that point, Tamara, like I can understand from a lot of business owners, because obviously I started out as a lash technician, so I don't have formal beauty therapy training. But as a lash tech, you know, I used to work by myself. And, you know, obviously my book's filled up to the point where I'm like, I can't do this because I'm overworked. So, you know, I tried to employ someone at the start, but I go, oh, it's so difficult because I understand every business owner. It's the same thing. When you recruit someone, you've now got extra expenses and there's always that fear that they might take your clients. You know, there was that. But I got to a point where I needed to expand. Otherwise, I was always forever going to be working for myself. So when I did that, you know, I took on one staff, and obviously, you know, when they're the right staff and they really care about the clients, naturally the clientele will grow. And it grew to a point where that's when we needed to put a receptionist on. So I can completely understand business owners who say, look, we can't afford to do that because that's the bottom line. We can't. But when I took out this lease to open up Fresh Face Bar, I knew this model would only work if it was catered for the mass. And when I say the mass, I don't want us to be so big that we don't care about the clients anymore, because that's far from our vision. Like, we want to be a space where people know that when they enter, that they're going to be well cared for with professional service, but that we can really recharge them. And that can only happen from your people, so the girls that I work with. And so with the business model here, it could only work because when we took this lease out, there's 4 huge rooms, which potentially means we could have 8 treatments going at once, plus the LED derma machine downstairs. And with the retail space being quite big, I knew that part of the business would be a retailing space, like it wasn't just for treatments. And that's the only reason why the business model can work, because based on the space and the people that we can cater for. So just to answer that question for the, you know, the businesses where they've only got maybe 2-3 beauty therapists, it would be quite hard. But at the same time, there are ways that they can do things. Like, I think just think outside the box sometimes. So definitely having their online booking system is really helpful. We're debating whether we want to bring back in the mobile phone, because obviously a lot of people like to text as well because they want an instantaneous answer. Because right now we do emails, and of course we don't answer that in the most timely manner. So I say, you know, just think of ways that you can really service clients, because it's not ideal to always have a full-time receptionist on, but I'm just saying that based on our business model, we are able to do that because of the amount of people that we can service at once.
Yeah, and I guess it's looking at it from a strategic point of view, but also a point of view that I know a lot of people, for example, if they have an issue, they're spending, 55 minutes of an hour focusing on the problem and only 5 minutes focusing on the solution. Whereas we need to rewire ourselves thinking that, okay, we're going to spend just 5 minutes on the problem, acknowledge it, have a little bitch about it, but then turn around and really find those solutions. And I love what you've done there is you've been very strategic in the layout of the business and then kind of planned your people around that, which is very, very smart.
Yeah, you're spot on about the whole solution things, because, people who don't have great skin, it's not as simple as, what products are they using? We try to drill down to what's going around you in your life? Like, is there, stress causing factors? And, nowadays we all recognize gut health is a huge part of whether your skin's good or not. So, you know, we kind of like touch on that too. And we actually have a range of gut products, and we want to be quirky in that the menu that we offer. So to the girls, we currently don't do it, but it will happen. I go, let's offer them like kombucha or Yakult, or, you know, just something great for their gut, just to remind people. And, you know, this was just another example. I was at the vet the other day, and I said to the vet, oh, I want to clean my dog's teeth. And the vet said to me, why? Because, you know, because I go, oh, isn't it good to have clean teeth? And the vet goes, but you need to do an x-ray to know what's underneath that, because if her teeth is rotting from the inside, cleaning her teeth won't help her. So that's an example of, I was fortunate that vet said that to me, because he could have made a couple of $100 just cleaning my dog's teeth. But his point was, if it's rotted from the inside, we're going to have to remove the teeth.
That's a fantastic analogy.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny, like it just didn't occur to me that, you know, my dog's 14 years old, that cleaning her teeth wasn't going to help her if she's already in pain, if it's rotting from the inside. Yeah, so, and that's the same concept with us here. We don't want to be a quick fix for anyone. We want them to know that we're a space that they can come into. And I bang on about that, because we are a space, like a wellness space, but the girls are so good at what they do that they can transform your skin as well.
Fantastic. And what is next in the pipeline for Fresh Face Bar?
Well, I said to the girls when we opened up, I go, I really do believe in the concept. And I said, let's aim for 3 salons within the next 3 years. And I think it's achievable, because the market is ready for something like us. Because we're still quite new, because I feel like the market in Australia is that you either go to get a quick fix or you go get a massage. You know, very few people actually have a beauty therapist that they religiously go to. And so we're trying to change that, because we don't want to just cater for women. I said, you know, we want to actually cater for about 30 to 40% of men to come through, and to not just to educate them about skin, but to say it's okay to have half an hour for yourself as well.
Yeah, fantastic. 3 spaces in 3 years. Watch this space. So exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
And so you mentioned you're in Richmond on Bridge Road in Victoria. I'm sure people are going to want to have a look at your Instagram and have a look at the kind of services you offer and that aesthetic of the LED Light Lounge. So where can we go to see more?
Right. So on Instagram, our handle is freshfacebar_Richmond. You can find us on Facebook if you just type in Fresh Face Bar. And then our website is www.freshfacebar.com.au. And yeah, all our products are actually online as well. So we do online shopping too.
Fantastic. Another accessible point for the clients. Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for the chat today. And I'm sure loads of people are going to ask you many more questions that maybe I haven't thought of with regards to your express treatments. But yeah, thank you so much for featuring on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having
Tamara.
us, Jan.
And on that point, Tamara, all the beauty therapists out there listening, I always say to you guys are amazing at what you do, because you're giving so much of your time and energy to your clients. So don't forget about yourself. So you can come check us out, and we'll recharge you.
Amazing. Yes. So important for therapists to definitely fill their cup up, because they're filling so many others, and you can't pour from an empty cup. So there you go. You heard it here first. If you want to have a treatment, you're in Victoria, go visit Lisa and Jess.
I truly admire Lisa for stepping out of the comfort zone of her lash tech world and into the world of skin. When you discover a market that is unique to the current landscape and run with it, the courage that takes to challenge the normal status of a beauty salon is very impressive, and the concept is ingenious. As you heard Lisa share, if you're in Melbourne, pop into their space on Bridge Road in Richmond, as it's always important that we refill our cups as therapists prior to giving our best to others. One more thing, as you know, we're an independent podcast channel and would absolutely love it if you could share this episode with your industry friends or colleagues and subscribe to our podcast, as that is how more people find out about us, and it's free. Until next time, stay connected.